Happy Thursday, Blissful Warriors. I was just live on the feed and for some reason it did not go through. So I think I was just talking to my phone for quite some time and I don't think anyone was there to see it. So we're gonna try this again. Happy Thursday, I'm excited to be here. This is part 2 of the annual review video series. Part 1 was on Tuesday. And I'm going to quickly review what we talked about in part 1 and then dive right into part 2, which is goal setting, intentional goal setting. So just a quick intro. My name is Jamie Molnar and I am a life coach, a licensed psychotherapist, and a certified yoga teacher. And I'm really passionate about helping overworked, uninspired women create a more balanced, fulfilling, and meaningful life. I love talking about how to create the life that you want for yourself. Really passionate about all the tools that I teach, and I'm excited to be here. Blissful Warriors is an amazing group, and I'm so thankful for everyone in here. Okay, so let's just dive right in. So part 1, we talked about creating a vision and an annual review process. So just briefly, we talked about the annual review questions. So answering questions about how your 2016 went, and then questions about how you want 2017 to go. From those questions, then you kind of create a vision for yourself for 2017 with a theme word that makes sense to you, and then also creating a vision board, whether it's digitally or a poster that you can put on your wall, that encompasses your theme word and where you want 2017 to go. So that was part 1, kind of reflecting on the past, looking to the future, and starting that vision process. Part 2 is about intentional goal setting. So I'm a huge fan of setting goals. I don't know how you would move forward without them, and I think there's a very specific way to do them that can actually serve you better than the average just kind of goal that you write down for yourself. So I'm going to talk about that now. I'm going to pull up my notes real quick. Okay, so intentional goal setting. I want to talk about the SMART goals system because I think it's a really valuable way to set goals and crush them, really. It helps you create a more systematic, specific way of writing your goals. I know there's been a lot of chatter on the internet about how the SMART goal system is kind of dated and we don't need it and all these things, but I actually think there's still a lot of value in the SMART goals content. I don't think it needs to be as possibly rigid or structured as it has been in the past, but I think it's a great way to set some really clear, actionable goals for yourself. So we're going to quickly review that right now. SMART goals, the S stands for specific. The M stands for measurable, the A stands for actionable, the R stands for relevant, and the T stands for time-bound. So let's start with the example, I will exercise more. We hear this all the time. It's like the most common New Year's resolution. Everybody talks about it. So let's go ahead and use that one as our example. So I will exercise more. What's the problem with that statement? So when I hear that statement, I say, okay, well, exercise, what kind of exercise? There's like a million different types of exercise. So what type of exercise are you going to be doing? How long will you be exercising for? I just did air quotes. I don't know why I did that. Air quotes rock, right? Okay, so what type of exercise are you going to be doing? How long are you going to be doing it for? Where are you going to be doing this exercise, and how are you going to be measuring it, right? So let's run through that really quick. The old goal, I will exercise more. Very unclear, not very actionable, not very easy to achieve because it's so vague. So let's modify it, okay, with the SMART system. So S, specific. What sort of exercise will you do? Who are you going to exercise with? Where are you going to exercise? M, measurable. How are you going to track your progress? If you don't know what you're doing and how you're going to do it and who you're doing it with, how are you going to measure it? A is attainable. Actually, I think I said actionable before, but it's actually attainable. And this is really important. Is this something that you can actually do? So if you have never done CrossFit in your life and then you set the goal of, I'm going to do CrossFit 5 days a week for the next 90 days, that's probably not the most attainable goal, right? It's not achievable, it's not realistic, it's probably not fair to yourself. And when we're not setting realistic, achievable, attainable goals, we fail. And that's when we get disappointed, and that's when we give up. So it's important to be realistic about what you can do. I would say the same about yoga. If you've never done yoga in your life and you wanted to start that, would we want to do 7 days a week of 2 hours of yoga? Probably not. You probably want to start just a couple days a week and get into it with your body before putting your body through that kind of rigor. So again, attainable. Is this realistic? Can I actually do this? R is relevant. So going back to part 1, your vision, your idea of what you want for 2017. Are these new goals even aligned with that, right? So if your new goal or your vision, is better health, then you need to set a goal that's relevant to that, okay? You need to think about a goal that makes sense and kind of feeds that vision for yourself. Finally, time bound. So, okay, I'm going to exercise more. Well, when is more, right? Is that for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks? Like, how long are you setting this new goal for before you're going to revisit it? So, having all those questions now with the SMART system, let's review the old goal and then look at the new goal. And I'm going to read it to you. The first one, old goal, I will exercise more. Very vague, not a lot of clarity, probably not going to lead to success. The new goal, I will do 30 minutes, so we have a specific on time, 30 minutes of cardio 3 times a week for 6 weeks. See how specific that is? You're describing the type of exercise that you're going to do, how long you're going to do it for, how many times a week, and how much time you're going to give yourself to do this goal or achieve it. Very specific, very achievable. How will I measure my success? Well, I'll measure my success by both how I am feeling and how many inches I have lost. Very easy, very measurable. If you're feeling better in 6 weeks, then it's probably working for you. If you're not feeling better, then that's some valuable information. Maybe this is not the right exercise for you. And then also weight loss, measuring inches rather than actual weight is really important. So inches means more than what's on the scale. Any exercise expert or fitness expert will tell you that. Really important to think about. And then finally, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because improved health is part of my 2017 vision statement. So there you go. We've tied it into the vision. We've made it very clear, very specific, very attainable, very actionable. So that would be my advice for setting new goals, is being very specific about them and tying them into your vision from part 1. The last piece that I want to talk about quickly is how long you should be working on goals. So Todd Herman talks a lot about this on his website and his podcast and his program. I think it's called the 90-Day Year, and I really respect his work, and I think he is quite right about this, and science even backs it up. We have a hard time thinking beyond 90 days. That's kind of our cap in terms of futuristic thinking and planning. So we can get very overwhelmed if we're thinking 8 months from now, and it's less likely that we're going to achieve those goals. So he recommends capping it at 90 days, and I 100% agree with this. So I recommend looking at goals for the new year for the next 90 days, and then cap it there, and then at 90 days, review, revisit, think about what worked, what didn't, what needs to be adjusted, and then start the process again. So that would be my recommendation. Again, Todd Herman, check out his website and podcast. He has a lot of great information, and he talks a little bit more about the science behind why 90 days is such an ideal kind of time frame for goal setting. So that is it. That's all I have to say for now. This is the part 2 of the annual review. So part 1, we talked about and kind of answering questions about the previous year, looking to the new year, and creating a vision. And then part 2, we talked a bit about being very specific with your goals and how to do that. I think that's it for now. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat box. If you would like the worksheet for the annual review, enter your email below and I'm happy to send it to you. If you have more questions, feel free to email me. Check out my website, YourBlissedOutLife.com. Always welcome to join us in Blissful Warriors, where we have regular conversations about all sorts of things related to health and wellness. I hope you have a wonderful New Year's, and thanks so much for tuning in. Sending love to all of you, and I'll chat with you soon. Okay, bye.